This photo is taken in Paris in the early 30s. It's January, damp and cold. But above all, it is not as crowded as one might think it should be. Where are all the children in their fine clothes and the marching band? Where is the king and the medals? He is Hassan Ali, the assistant. Her name is Eva Dickson, and she has just won an absolutely insane bet taken just a month ago. Eva grew up surrounded by tradition at the castle in the south of Sweden. But as her brother wrote, Eva grew fast as a wildflower, did what she wanted to. She was considered to be one of the great beauties of her time, but didn't seem too interested in being a beauty. She becomes a rally driver, learns to fly, and then she travels. Eva becomes a war correspondent, and when Ethiopia is attacked by Italy in 1935, she's there. Here's Emperor Haile Selassie on his way away from the capital, but only days before, he was sitting with Eva Dickson in the Black Castle, peacefully drinking tea. Eva also writes, but further down south. She feels at home here. In Kenya, she has met Bror Blixen, he who was previously married to the writer Karen Blixen, she who will become famous when she's played by Meryl Streep in the movie My Africa. But now it is Eva who has taken Bror's heart, and together they stir up dust across the savannah as they hunt for big game. But not here. Here they are on their honeymoon in the Caribbean. The man in shorts is Ernest Hemingway. On Ernest's boat Pilar, to the right, it's the easy days in the waters around Cuba. Eva catches sharks. And she writes of Ernest that he is a force of nature for whom the thrill of adventure is half his life. He could just as well have written the same about her, in a state of restless melancholia, the both of them. Ernest will later shoot himself. Eva will die on a night outside Baghdad, in her car when the adventure suddenly ends, age 33. But before that, she had been here. Here she's 27 and standing like Amundsen after he reached the North Pole, or Amelia Earhart after she flew across the Atlantic. Eva's in Paris, but about 30 days ago, she'd sat next to an old man sipping champagne in Nairobi, Kenya. He said that women couldn't do anything. She said she could drive. And so the bet was accepted to drive from Nairobi to the Mediterranean in less than 30 days. She bought this Chevrolet, met Hassan on the street. Ahead of them laid 1,000 miles that would make her historic as the first woman ever to drive through the Sahara. And now she stands here with a bet won after demanding a construction of a bridge from the commandant of Bangor, after chasing away lions and driving the last few days through the Sahara Desert, half blind from malaria. And with all that in mind, one might ask oneself where the crowds are to wave some flags, while Eva Dickson was still here. This photo is taken in 1995 in front of Launch Pad 39B at Cape Canaveral, Florida. And one can argue that if everything had been done more rationally, the ladies in the photo would have been the first to walk on the moon. Especially one of them could have been first. Jerrie Cobb. She grew up riding horses in Texas, then became a pilot, broke flying records, and was selected when they wanted to find new astronauts. Here, she stands in front of the Mercury capsule, while someone's silver legs lurk inside, eager to leave. It's highly likely that the legs belong to one of these guys. President Kennedy has promised to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. A man on the moon, the president says, and here stands Ellen, Gus, Gordon, Wally, Deke, John, and Scott, the Mercury 7. They are the men who are going to go first into space to clear way to the moon. But at the same time, there's a new idea about women. For every kilo or pound that goes into space, you need huge amounts of fuel, bigger engines. Women weigh less and are therefore easier to send into space. And he who designed the astronaut tests, physical, psychological, is Dr. Loveless, and now he has started to test 19 women. This is Jerrie Cobb, as she gets top scores. A total of 13 women are found to have the right stuff, and proportionately, more women than men pass the tests. Now, women seem to be the rational choice for the moon. Nevertheless, a man, Yuri Gagarin, is first in space in 1961, soon followed by the American man, Alan Shepard. This, though, is Valentina Tereshkova. In 1963, she stays longer in space than any American man has done. And as the trip to the moon still is years away, the women have time to take men's places. But instead, the American Space Agency shuts down the female astronauts program. Officially, because women don't fly jet planes. The more unofficial explanations are heard from men mumbling that they simply don't like the idea of female astronauts. So here they are at a reunion at a place that never got to be theirs. They are 7 of the 13 women who, in the 60s, passed Dr. Loveless' tests and hoped for the moon. Now, they all manage to smile quite well, all but for one who looks to be smiling a bit more strained. When the space agency cut her off, Jerrie Cobb moved to the Amazon rainforest. For 40 years she would stay there and fly food and medicine to distant native tribes in her small plane. And in 1969, when Neil Armstrong took man's first steps on the moon, it is said that the news also reached Jerrie Cobb. Fixing something on the airplane and standing on one of its wings, it's said that she was happy for Armstrong, but at the same time that she had that thought in her head. It could have been me.